Hi guys, Kevin Ellis Jr. here with the Apex Racing Academy with this track guide for VIR in the Porsche Cup car. So just to start us off, as we come in towards turn 1, obviously take the short route on the right hand side, on the front straight, and then bring it right across to the grass on the left hand side. Now we're going to be looking at the 4 board here for our brake marker. But you can see we start applying the brake just a little bit before that. The 5's a little bit too early, 4's just slightly too late. So we start applying the brakes somewhere between the 4 and the 5. Basically making sure that you're near enough at threshold by the time you come past the 4 board. So if you look at chase cam, you see we're in line with the 4. There's our brake input there, and it's very gradually just increasing as well. We've done the majority of the threshold braking between application there to the 4 board. So you want to hold the threshold for as long as you can down and towards second gear as you come into here. Obviously trying to open up the corner as much as we can. There's a few nasty bumps in turn 1 as well here. So just be aware of that as you turn in here. And from inside the car, it's very tempting to turn in early here and try and catch this apex right here, but you do need to try and open up the corner as much as you can so that you can get a tight exit. There's more time to be gained from having a tight exit here than tight entry. So we're going to try and take a little bit of a wider line, take a later apex, and then right as you get to the curb on the inside, that's when we're going to pick up the throttle. So we hit the apex on the inside, and then right as this curb comes to an end, right here, this is where you're going to start picking up the throttle. You can see front end of the car gets to it, picking up the throttle, and then you're going to see this massive bump right there. Really going to unsettle the car. And then as soon as you start opening out the lock and applying the throttle, a short shift to third right around here, just to give you the traction. You can see how much the car is like oscillating up and down through here. If you watch it in slow motion, you can see the car, there's one bounce right there. Then there's a second bounce right there as well. There's 1 or 2 big nasty bumps on exit. And then just try and keep it as tight as you can to the right hand side. You can see on the curb here. And by this time, of course, you're flat out. You basically want to make sure you're flat out well before you get to this curb. Way up here, you can see we're flat out away back here. And it's just a case of trying to hang on as best you can. So into this next section, back over to the right hand side, just to try and open up this corner as much as you can. And then as you're coming into here, you're aiming to just clip this curb on the inside. So as you come in, you're going to gradually come off the throttle, and then just slightly onto the brake. It's not a heavy braking zone this. If you do brake too much, you're going to find the car getting loose on entry. So you just want to kind of brush the curb on the inside here at the same time as getting onto the brakes. And aiming for the grass on the outside right out here. And I believe we're just down into third gear for this corner here. Yeah, we're just going to keep it in third. Nice low RPM, can pick up the throttle nice and early. You can see we're picking up the throttle way back here, really, really early in the corner, way before the apex. And really going to power through that corner. Then aim for the curb on the outside here, just we shift up into fourth. And then the next set of corners, these black lines on the track right here are going to be your brake marker. So as soon as you get to in line with this kind of black line going across the track here, see the black line there, basically right in line with that, we're going to start getting onto the brakes. You can see we're braking just a little bit before it, but near enough on it, down into second gear. We're not going to take a whole lot of curb off on the left here because it is quite bumpy on the downslope. Sometimes the car kind of catches the lip on the way down and it can pogo quite a bit. So we're just going to keep this in second here and take it a little bit wide, a little bit wider. Short shift into third, aggressive up over the right, and then through here it's just a case of trying to keep as much throttle on as you can to carry the speed between the 2 corners, but not so much that you're going to either get loose or go too slow. You don't want to end up out on this curb on the outside. And as we come into here, we're going to short shift into fourth as well, just before this right-hander. So right around here, we're going to shift into fourth. And as you come past the end of this curb on the left-hand side, that's your key just to kind of lift off the throttle just a little bit here, get the nose in, and then really power through the right-hander, and then flat through the left, through the right, and then up through the S's here up towards the roller coaster. So into here, this should be near enough flat out. Add a little bit of confidence lift on this lap. So you can see as we come through this left, just going to brush the curb on the left just to try and open it up as much as we can. We could have taken a little bit more off this curb on the left, but I was a bit conscious about catching the grass wrong and the car snapping out of control. So we just clip the curb on the left and then take a huge chunk off this right-hander, and you can see we have a bit of a confidence lift right here in the middle of the corner. It's absolutely fine if you want to have a little bit of a confidence lift like this. Don't lift completely off the throttle though, because you're going to completely mess up the weight transfer of the car and it's going to completely ruin the balance. You need to keep the power on all the way through here. If you're not flat out, you need to be damn close to it. But you can see here we're taking a huge chunk off the right so that we can take a nice straight line for the left and then open up this next right-hander. And right as you get to the end of this curb on the left hand side, you're going to start picking up the brake. And it's not a whole lot of brake either. Bear in mind this is uphill, so you don't need a whole lot of brake here. You just a little stab up to like 40% or so, 35, and then trailing off really quickly. And then as soon as you see you've got the car angled in line with this curb, you're already picking up the throttle again. It's a really quick dab on the brake and then back onto power again. As you can see, full throttle, slight dab of brake, get the nose pointed in, and then full throttle, really power through the corner. Keep it as far to the right hand side as you can, brake down into fourth, and then again really early back to power before we even get to the curb on the inside. We're already beginning to pick up power before we fully come off the brake. And again, really encouraging you to power through this corner and just hang on. On the exit, it's going to really tighten up on exit, but make sure to make use of this curb. It's here to help you. It'll kind of push you back to the left as you come up over the hill. So be nice and be brave. Push it as hard as you possibly can. And also just in terms of brake marker into here, actually, which I don't think we really covered. It's a bit kind of vague, the brake markers into here, but you can see there's all these kind of little black marks on the track, just little tire marks and whatever else. It's basically just trying to take in line with that there, this little kind of half moon shaped tire mark. You can see we're already getting onto the brakes here already, so it's basically as soon as you come up over the crest, onto the brakes as you pass the tire marks, and then picking up the power just before the curb on the left, just waiting back to full throttle as you come up over the crest, and then use the curb on the outside, get back to the left as quickly as you can, and then we're looking at the 3 board here for a brake marker. So right on the 3, start applying the brakes. Going to be down into second gear for this section as well, and the whole way through here we're kind of trailing brake just to kind of scrub the speed off, but also you need to keep weight over the front tires to keep the balance consistent. If you brake away back at the 4, away before this, by the time you get to like the 1 or the arrow, you're going to have to completely come off the brake and probably accelerate a bit to try and speed back up, and it's just going to mess up the brake, the overall balance of the car and the weight transfer. So into here we're still on the brakes, but the car doesn't quite have enough grip, carry enough speed through to just be on the brake 100% of the time. So as we came through here, I got the line right, but I gave it just a little boost of throttle just while we're still on the brake, just to try and keep the speed up. If I try and carry more speed just on the brakes, there's a very good chance you're going to end up off into the barrier on the outside. So I gave it just a little dab of throttle here. So if you look at the speed, we're dipping down to like 108, 107, 106. So we're still decelerating. I just give it a little boost of throttle just to slow down that deceleration rate so that I can still carry good entry speed into Oak Tree. Then of course, want to be right against the curb on the outside, and then right as you get to the get the car angled to the inside of the corner, we're picking up throttle. It's a long straight that's coming up after Oak Tree, so you need to make sure you're back to throttle as quickly as you can and confidently as you can. So it's a way back here that we're going to pick up the throttle, powering through the apex, taking a good chunk off the inside, and then right as the car lands and settles, straight to 100% as quickly as you can down the back straight. So up over the crest, we're going to keep this over to the right hand side, and right as we're coming in here, we're going to be looking for this 1 board right here. It's going to feel like it's too late, but trust me, the 1 board is where you need to brake. So right as you come up to the 1, or even when the dust changes to grass, you can use that as well. Sort of section here, and again you can see we're already applying brake before we actually get to the 1. Obviously when you're at full speed, it's near enough on the 1. So that's essentially where you're wanting to be braking, is right on the 1. And again, similar to Oak Tree, on the brakes the full time. Don't brake, then come off the brake, then get back on, because you're going to upset the balance. All the way up through here, you can see we've always got brake on at some point, and we're also going to take just a little bit of curb off the left here, just to help open up the right-hander, so that would then in turn open up the left-hander after it coming down the hill. So through here we're 4th, down into 3rd, over that curb, and then down into 2nd, and then into here we're looking at the curb on the inside here, trying to get right up on this flat section, and also apply power just at the same time. So you can see the right-hand wheels are right up on the inside, this kind of grated section. You want to get the right-hand tires right up on that next to the grass. That will help pull the car around the corner, whilst also using a bit of throttle as well. You can get a little bit of rotation of it that way. Up into 3rd, then we've opened up the left-hander, so then as we come down the hill, we're aiming for the curb on the inside. Not to take as much as the previous corner, just enough just to get the line right, but it'll also kind of push the car right just a little bit, and it'll keep it stable. Because coming down through here, the car's going to want to kind of snap on you. So as you're coming down into here, I like to use just a little bit of curb just to keep the thing stable, and it just allows me to use a little bit more power and carry more speed down the hill. So we come down here, might need a little bit of a lift on exit. You can see we just managed to keep it flat out. Really tough section. The rear of the car is really light through here. Basically, in the compression, it would just want to snap just with the way the diff is set up at the minute. You know, that whole previous section is pretty difficult. And then essentially, as we come into this final section here, we're looking at these tire marks again here. As we come across the top of these, we just start to come off the throttle kind of gradually. See, just a little bit, and then we're onto the brakes. It's just to get the nose pointed, get a little bit of weight transferred to the front as well, and then taking a good chunk off this left-hand side. Now into here, you're going to be down into second gear as well. So we take a good chunk off the left, and again, run the brakes the full time coming down the hill just to keep some weight over the front end. You can see we get the nose pointed in, aiming to take a lot off the right again, and then right as you go up the curb, just before landing, we're going to pick up just a little bit of throttle. Now, this section again is really difficult, same as the previous section. The end of this lap is really technical. As you come up off the curb on the right hand side, you can see how I've hit the curb. We're trying to line it up so that we come up off the curb and then we catch the down slope of the curb, which you can see we've done right there as the curb kind of angles down from this flat serrated section at the top. You can see the right hand tires are just going to go up over the serrated section, and then they land right on that down slope, and it means basically guarantees a smooth landing. If you were to take any more than this, or go any slower than this, then I was probably going to catch this serrated section, and as it's landing, it's going to bounce back off the serrated section at the top, and the car's going to bounce and either spin, end up on the grass, or it's just going to cost you a good few tenths of a second just because you need to delay when you can get back onto power. So through here, that's basically your goal, is you're going to take a lot off the left, as much off the left as you can, try and open up the right as much as you can so you can get up over the angled section, or up the angled section over the flat serrated bit, just to cut the corner, land on the down slope, and then we're going to apply throttle while we're in the compression. Now, again, you can be quite aggressive up to 50-60%, which you can see here almost at 70%, but then this last 20-30% input is really gradual. I'm basically just waiting to feel if the car's going to snap or not, because through here it's actually quite difficult to keep it pinned from here all the way around the right hander to the start finish line. The car's again really light, the rear end's really lively, so that last 25% is just me trying to feel out if the car's going to stick or not, and also just try not to overstress the tyre a bit too much. So that is essentially the last section. Again, up over the serrated, catch the angle, up to 75% throttle, and then up to 100, and then just hang on as best you can through here. I like to use a little bit of curb as well. That just kind of stabilizes the car as it wants to kind of spin right. Obviously, just from the general lack of grip, just clipping that curb on the right hand side will sort of push it left, and that sort of stabilizes it. And then you can see we're just trying to manage the slip as much as we can onto the front straight, and hopefully get a good run down the front straight and towards turn one, and hopefully that will allow some kind of overtake during one of the races. But anyway, guys, with that is a lap of VIR. As always, any kind of questions, just feel free to fire them in the Apex Racing Academy Discord, and we'll be sure to get back to you with any kind of feedback or anything like that. So with that, guys, all the best of luck this week, and we'll catch you next week.